Hi everyone, and welcome for a new edition of a webinar. So in this edition, we are going to speak about how to build and submit an app to the stores. So we're going to cover the App Store and also Google Play. But I'd like in this webinar to focus on the process on how to build the app, because most of the time it's where you have some difficulties to really understand what certificates needs to be done, what certificates needs to be reused. So we are going to spend some time on this, and then we will go up to the delivery of the binary files, the IPA file for Apple and the APK file for Android. So during all this webinar, I will use my own reseller account. So you will see, I will just use the same interface as the same interface you use when you build apps for your customers. If people who are not resellers are watching this webinar, they will find useful information too, because the process of building the apps is the same for webinars, for resellers, sorry, and regular users. So I propose you to dive into it just right now. This webinar is recorded and it will be available in replay in case you have missed some parts. Let's go. So here I'm on my reseller account and I have all the lists of all my apps here right in front of me, and I'm going to start to build one of them. So you see here, this one, Tennis Club, has not been built for iOS and Android yet. So let's start to try to create this one. So I click on it and I'm redirected right back to the back office, and all the submission process is under this publish menu. So I go to publish, and I'm going to start to publish for iOS. So you see here, it's not possible for me to start to build this app because mandatory informations are missing. And mandatory informations are images that are built inside the binary, inside the app. And those images are the icon and also the splash screen. So that's the reason why when you change the icon or the splash screen in your back office, you need to rebuild the app so that this change is taken into account, and you need to submit an update of your app. So I'm going to close this Tennis Club project, and we are going to work on another project. So I've prepared all the necessary information for small lakes, and let's start with this project. So I go to publish iOS, and here I'm ready to start to build my iOS app. So when I land on this page, I have two options. I can do it by myself. I can make the building process by myself, or I can ask GoodBarber to do it. So today, you are going to become ninjas. So we are going to do the process by ourselves. If you choose one path or the other, there is no way back. So if you need to go back and choose the other path, you will have to ask the support to put you at the starting point again. Okay. So let's begin the submission. During this process, we're going to ask you questions, and based on your answers, the process will change. So here, the first question is it the first time you're building an app? So if the app is new, if it's the first time this app will be published on the app stores, some certificates, some additional certificates will need to be done. If not, if it's an update of an existing app, the process will be different. So let's start with a new app that have never been published in the stores. I click next, and here comes the second question. This question refers to your developer account and the distribution certificate. So when you build an app, you need several files to be able to build it. And the first file we ask is the distribution certificate. The distribution certificate is your ID, is your developer ID. In fact, this certificate is used to sign all your apps, and in the stores, your apps will be identified to have been built by your developer account. So when you are in the App Store and you see the name of the app and below the name of the developer, this name is retrieved from the distribution certificate. Okay? So here you have two options. You can create a new distribution certificate to sign this app, or you can use an existing distribution certificate. So if you have just subscribed as a reseller, and if it's the first time you're building an app with GoodBarber, you have no choice. You need to choose this first option. I want to create a new distribution certificate. When you do so, we'll provide you some information to create this certificate in your Apple developer account. So when you work at building your apps, I suggest you open two windows in your browsers. One window will be connected to your developer account, and the other one will be connected to your GoodBarber back office. And you will go from one window to another to exchange files from one side to the other side. So here, if I want to create a new distribution certificate, I need to generate a file here in my GoodBarber backend, and then use this file in my Apple developer account to generate my first distribution certificate. So for resellers, it's not a big deal. You know how to create distribution certificates. So we are not going to spend time on how to build this new certificate. It's very easy if you follow the process described here in all those pages. I'm going to just take some time to explain you how to reuse an existing distribution certificate, because resellers, you're supposed to build many apps with GoodBarber, and in theory, you have to use always the same distribution certificate. Most of the time, you recreate a new one, or you use an existing one that is no longer valid, and you end up to have problems with your builds. So let's go here and see what's behind this. I want to use an existing distribution certificate. If you choose this option, we will ask you to select an existing distribution certificate that you have already created in your developer account. So let's go to my developer account here. So it's in developer.apple.com. You go to Member Center, you register, and then you select Certificates, Identifiers, and Profiles, and you go to the Certificates menu. So here you see it's an account with existing certificates, and among all those certificates, you can identify this one with my name, and here iOS distribution. This is my distribution certificate. Okay, each distribution certificate expires as an expiration date. Okay, for this one, it's February 4th, 2016. If you go back to your GoodBarber back office, you will see that we have stored in our servers the distribution certificates used to sign your previous app with GoodBarber. So here, if you use this drop-down menu, you will see a list of apps that was already made with my account ID. Okay, all those apps have been built under my account ID here. Okay, and you see for all those projects, you have the name of the project, the URL, and also the date of the distribution certificate that was used to build this app. So it's always the expiration date that is displayed here. So if you look carefully here below, you see that Freeze, this application that belongs to my reseller account, we have it here, Freeze. was built recently with my distribution certificate that expires in February 4th, 2016. So this is this certificate and only this one that I must use to continue the process. So I select this certificate and I click next step. Before clicking on this button, just a few words on this second option. So here, you can use here this, this field to upload a distribution certificate associated to a private key to sign your apps. When to use this option? In fact, I rarely recommend to use this option because in your developer account at Apple, you can use two distribution certificates in parallel. So let's say you're using GoodBarber to build apps and you are also using another app builder, or you build apps by yourself with Xcode. You need each time a distribution certificate to sign your apps. So you can work both ways. You can say, and this is the option I recommend, I prefer to use one distribution certificate for GoodBarber and a second distribution certificate for my other projects. Okay, that's the safer way to build apps and not to make mistakes when you choose a distribution certificate. Or if you want, you can say, I prefer to only manage one distribution certificate and sign all my projects with this certificate. If this is the way you want to work, in that case, you are going to use this option and upload each time you build a new app, your distribution certificate associated with its private key. It's very important because it means that from this interface, it's not possible to retrieve the file and upload it here in the backend. If you download the distribution certificate that you have here in this interface and you upload it here in your back office, it won't work because this file doesn't contain your private key associated to your distribution certificate, okay? This file, the P12 file, can be retrieved only if you export it from the keychain from your computer, okay? So I think the majority of you are going to use the first option, selecting one existing distribution certificate already used to build a GoodBarber project, okay? So let's take this one and click next step. In the second step, we ask you to create a new app ID for this project, okay? Why I'm asking a new app ID here? It's because in step 0, first time, I declared that it was the first time I was publishing this app in the App Store. Since it's the first time, I need to create an app ID. The app ID can be created here under identifiers in your Apple developer account. You click app IDs. So you see an existing list of app IDs I already have in my account. And by clicking in this plus button, you can name your app ID and select and choose a bundle ID that will be associated to your app. So the app ID is the unique identifier of your app in the stores. It's a unique identifier. To help you choose the app ID, we provide you a generic app ID that you can use. So the app ID description will be always the name of your project in our database here. And the app ID suffix, also called the bundle ID, will have the structure com.goodbarber. The name of the project. It's just an example. If you want to use another app ID description and another app ID suffix, another bundle ID, you're free to use your information. If you do so, be careful when you make the next step in the process to use the name, the bundle ID you have chosen by yourself here in this interface. Okay? For those who are wondering if this will be visible by their customers, the bundle ID is not shown in the App Store. So if there is the GoodBarber brand here, it's not a problem. If you want to put your own brand, there is no problem, you can. And you can use the app ID suffix you want. Okay? If it's in step 0, my answer to the first question was, this app is an update of an existing app. In this process, here in step 3, those information would have been different, because if it's not the first time, if you are making an update, you need to reuse the existing app ID to continue the process and create the other certificates and link them to this app ID. So if you want to make an update, don't follow the instructions here. Reuse the app ID that is already created in your developer account. Okay, so here we are going to create our app ID. So let's take this name. I click the plus. Okay, and for my bundle ID, I'm going to use this information. And when I create an app ID, I can associate some services to it. And one service we use is the push notification service. So I need to click on this button before hitting the continue button and submit my new app ID. Okay, now I'm done. And you see here, there is my new app ID available. When it's done, I can go to next step to create my push certificates. So this file, at the end of this step 4, we are going to retrieve a file from our developer account. This file will be used to make the connection between the GoodBarber servers and Apple servers to send push notifications to your app. Okay, so I need to generate a certificate signing request, then go back to certificates, click the plus, and choose to create an Apple push notification service in production. It's very, very important file. So I select this option, click continue, and here I need to find in this list the app ID I've just created in step 3. It's very important because if you select the wrong app ID here, you won't be able to send push notifications. Push notifications will be routed to the wrong app. Okay, so or they won't be routed at all because there will be a mismatch between the certificates you have in your app and the information we have in our servers. So I need to select the Grana 13 app ID here and click continue. I upload my certificate signing request. And I generate my push certificate. Download it. And now I upload it here in my GoodBarber back office. Next step, mobile provision. So here we are going to make a profile that makes the link between your distribution certificate, your identity as a developer, and your app ID, the app you are going to build. Okay, this file, at the end of this process, we will retrieve a file, contains the information that makes the link between your app and your ID as a developer. So the process is quite easy. You go to your developer account, under provisioning profile, you click hold, the plus here. You're going to create a distribution provisioning profile because your app is supposed to be published in the stores. So I create a profile for the App Store. I click continue. Here again, I make the link. So I need to select the correct app ID for my app. This is Grana 13. I click continue. And here I need to select my distribution certificate, the one that expires in February 4, 2016. I click continue. And I give a name to this profile. So in order to be consistent in my account, I use the name already used for my app ID as the distribution profile. I generate. I download it. And I upload it in my GoodBarber back office. Next, you are going to create a second profile that is called the ad hoc profile. And this profile will be used to allow the installation of your app in some devices, some authorized devices, outside the App Store. So this is what we call the ad hoc version. Sometimes in the support, we ask you, when you report a bug, we ask you, where did you test? How can I reproduce this bug? Was it in the back office preview? What is it in the HTML5 web app? Was it in my GoodBarber app? Or was it in the ad hoc version? So remember, the ad hoc version is the exact copy of the app that you will send to the App Store. So before sending an app to the App Store, I strongly recommend that you make all your final tests in the ad hoc version. Okay? So the ad hoc version can be only installed in some selected devices. And to select those devices, you need to retrieve the UDID of the phones, the iPhones or the iPads you want to install the ad hoc version on. Okay? This information can only be retrieved when you plug your iPhone to your computer and you launch the iTunes software. This is the place where you can get the UDID of your device. Don't use apps on the stores that are supposed to give UDIDs because they can't retrieve the UDID of your phone. Only iTunes can. So use iTunes and retrieve this UDID. Okay? When you have it, you go to your developer account, and under devices here, you are going to add the device. So the process is very simple. You click the plus button, you put the name of the device and the UDID, and you click continue, and you will register this new device. So here you see there is a list of devices I'm able to select if I want to install an ad hoc version on. So let's go back to the ad hoc provisioning profile. So here I'm going to create a second provisioning profile for my app. It's under distribution because I'm going to distribute my app not in the App Store but to some devices. So I'm selecting the ad hoc option here. I click continue. Again, I need to make the link between my app and my ID, my developer ID. Okay. And there is an additional step. Here, I can select the devices that will be authorized to download the ad hoc version. So let's select my iPad and my iPhone. I click continue. I give a name to this profile. So I usually put the app ID and ad hoc just after. It's just a suggestion. You can put what you want here. It's just for you then to be able to identify in your list what profile is used for what app. And I generate. I download it. And I add it here at the end of the process. Now I'm done. I've provided all the necessary information to build my app. Okay, so I click build, and now you have to wait for our engines to build the app. When it's finished, you receive an email with some instructions to install the app in your phone. So this is what we're going to see right now. So let's go back to my reseller account, and here you see I've prepared some apps. If I look at webinar, you see that webinar, my app is ready. So the build is ready. Okay. If I refresh this page, sorry, you will see that Small Lake is the build compilation is in progress. So we are building this app right now. So let's go to webinar. And webinar is ready. So if I go to publish submission iOS, you'll see that now this app can be tested on my phone with the ad hoc version. How to install the ad hoc version in my phone? It's very simple. You click on the how to test my app button, and you will see here, point number 2, there is a URL. You just have to type this URL in your iPhone or iPad browser in Safari, and it will install directly the app on your device. It will be possible if only this device is authorized to install this app. So how to see if a device is authorized to install the other version? You go to Publish Certificates iOS, and here you see the list of authorized devices that can use the ad hoc version. So here, for instance, you could put the UDID of your customer iPhone and install the app directly on his phone if you want them to test the app. Okay. So that was the iOS process for a new app with an existing distribution certificate. This is what you do most of the time. You have already your certificate, and then you create new apps. If you have some questions at this point, we can just make a Q&A section. You can use, in the video, there is a button in the video you can click on and ask questions, and we can I can answer it right now. If not, we will go on Android process. Okay, so no question. Let's continue and speak about Android. Okay. So let's build the Android version of this app, Exploring. So I go to Publish, Submission, Android. And here again, I have the choice. I do it myself, or I ask GoodBarber to do it. So let's do it myself. So here, same question. This is the first time this app will be available on Google Play, or this app is an update of a version already published on Google Play. Okay? If you choose this first option, you will jump directly to step number 3. Okay? Why? Because by default, we are going to create a file that will sign your application. This file is contained in what we call the key store. Okay. If this app is an update of an existing app already published on Google Play, you choose this way, you will need to provide the key store. And this is what I want to show you. So the key store is the file that was used to sign your app. In Google Play, each application is signed with one file, okay, one key. And this key must be reused to each time you rebuild, you make an update of the app, okay? So when you ask me, I'm using another app builder and I want to switch to GoodBarber, will it be possible to update my app using your system? So my answer is always yes, it will be possible for you, only and if only you have the key store that was used to sign the first version of your app. So some app builders will give you this file, others won't give you this file. If they don't give you this file, you're locked, stuck, and you can't make an update of your project, okay? If tomorrow you ask me, I want to leave GoodBarber and use another system to build my app, there will be no problem. I will give you the key store used to sign your app. There is no problem. We give this information. We don't want you to be locked and won't be able to evolve your projects. Okay. So let's go here and let's assume that I'm coming from another system and I want to use GoodBarber to update my app and use this tool for my further projects. So let's retrieve my key store. So I have my key store here. This key store is always associated with a password. So I know my password of my key store, okay? And then I have my key and the private key associated to this key store used to sign my app, and I click next. So now you're taken to step 2. And in step 2, you're going to choose a package name if it's the first time you're creating this app. But in my case, as it's an update of an existing app, I need to reuse the package name that was chosen the first time the app was created. So how to know what is the package name of my app? It's very easy. You go to the Play Store. And in the Play Store, you can choose any app in the Play Store. Let's choose this one, for instance. And you will see here the app ID, the package name, sorry, that was used to create this app, okay? So you need to reuse the same package name in the GoodBarber backend to be able to make an update of your existing app. So my package name is this one. I don't remember, so I'm going to check. Here I can check what's my package name. Yes, this is my package name. So if I go back to the submission, I can go next. And now I'm going to create some keys in my Google Cloud Console to be able to use some services in my Android app. So let's do it right now. I go to my Google Developer Console. So here I'm registered with my Gmail account, and you see I've already some projects in this account. This is the Grana 6 project. You see here there is the Grana 6 project. I'm going to check if all the information I have created here are still valid to be used in my GoodBarber project. So first thing to check, the project number. So I go to overview, project number of Grana 6 here, and I check if the project number is the same. So it was the same. I can click next. Next, I need to verify if some APIs have been enabled in my project. So I go to APIs, and here on Enable APIs, I'm going to check if Google Cloud Messaging for Android is enabled. That's the case. This is used to send push notifications to Android apps. Then I'm going to check if Google Maps Android API v2 is enabled. That's the case. This is used to use the map section in your project. So even if you're not going to use the map section in your project, I recommend that you activate this API, because you don't know if tomorrow you need to add a map section into your project. You will be able to do so. No need to rebuild the app and to recreate an API key for your project. And that's the same for YouTube Data API v3. It's used for the YouTube section, and also to read iframes, YouTube iframes inside articles. So it's strongly recommended to enable this API. So the three are enabled. In case they were not, I'm just going to show you where it is. So Google Cloud Messaging for Android, YouTube Data API, and Google Maps Android API. Okay. So when everything it's correct and set up here, if you go back to your GoodBarber backend, you will see in the next step how to create some API keys. So the first key you're going to create is a server key, and this key will be used to send push notifications. Okay, so I go back to my console. Here under credentials, you see that I have already created keys. Okay, key for server applications and key for Android. Let's delete those two keys, and I'm going to redo the process to show you how to make them. So I click create a new key. The first key I'm going to create is a server key, and I'm asked to provide a range of IP addresses that will be used by this key. So here we give you the IP ranges to use. Okay, you put them here in this field, create, and the system will generate an API key. So I copy this key and I paste it here in my backend. Now I need to create a second key for Google services. This key will be used to display correctly the map section and to display correctly the YouTube videos. Okay. So in my Google console, I click create a new key, a new Android key. And here I need to provide a unique identifier. It's called the SHA1 plus package name. So we give you here this information. So this basically here you have a fingerprint that is related to your key store and the package name chosen for your app. So if you don't use the same key store used to create the first version of your app, or you don't use the same package name chosen when you first created your app, the key won't work. Okay, that's the reason why it's very important to use the same key store and the same package name. I put here this combination, I click create, and you're going to retrieve the API key. So be careful when you select the second API key, because sometimes you copy paste for a second time the server key. So be sure to download the key for Android applications, this one. So I put my new key here and I click next step. I'm ready to build. And now time for me to build my app, okay? So build is in progress. If I go to my reseller dashboard and I refresh, I will see that for exploring, the build is in progress. And it's still in progress for small lakes. So let's jump to webinar that is ready for Android, and I'll show you how to test the ad hoc version, the Android ad hoc version on your phone. So my Android app is ready, and here I can test it. So here again, it's the exact copy of the app that you will send to Google Play. If you click this button, you will see a URL. You have just to type this URL in your Android phone, in your Chrome, in your browser, and it will install the app on the phone. So unlike iOS, it's not necessary to define a list of devices that will be authorized to install the ad hoc version, the Android ad hoc version. Okay, you can install it. If you have the file, the APK file, you can install it on the phone. Okay, but there is a difference between the file you retrieve here and the file you will retrieve here if you click to submit my application. I'm not going to click on this button right now because I'm going to be locked. But sometimes you use the file retrieved here, the file for testing purposes, and you upload it in Google Play, and you get an error. And the error says your file is not zip aligned. If you have this error, it means that you have sent the ad hoc version and not the production version. So be sure to always use the production version that will be available when you click this button. So before clicking here, just a few words about this part of the page. So when you're on submission Android or submission iOS and you have the ready status, so my app is ready to be tested, you have two options. You can click on modify and it will take you back to the editing of your app and will unlock some parts of the backend. Or you can click submit and your backend will be locked. So why it's locked? It's locked because it's important to have an app that won't change during the validation process. Okay? So if you click here, I'm going to do it. You have this this iBox that warns you that the backend will be locked. So click on this button only if you are 100% sure that your app is ready to be submitted. If you have tested it in the ad hoc version and you're ready to publish. So let's click here, submit to the stores. And now you can download the binary, the APK file, and use it to send it to Google Play. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show you today, so that you can avoid all the mistakes when you build your apps, and you can retrieve binary files that you can send to the stores. So the processes of sending the files into the stores is managed in iTunes Connect for iOS and on Google Play for Android. And you have to follow steps in their interface to be able to submit. You don't need to use the GoodBarber backend. So maybe we will make another webinar about that if you need to, but the process is very straightforward. Just have to follow the steps. So now I'm going to read your questions because you don't have the time while I was speaking, and try to answer the one I can't. So first one, hi Jerome, I have another app built with another company like yours. If possible, to change those apps to GoodBarber. So yes, it's possible. So for iOS, it's very easy because as you've seen, you will have to create a new distribution certificate or use an existing one, but there is no problem to create a new one. And I suggest you create a new one just to be sure and to have this 1 year validity starting for the day you start to use GoodBarber. So you create your new distribution certificate, and then when you're in step 3, creating the app ID, you don't create a new app ID, you just reuse the existing app ID and you link it to the push certificates and the mobile provision and the provisioning profiles, the distribution profile and the ad hoc profile. And you will be able to just make an update on the App Store of your existing app. And for your existing users, the transition will be seamless. For them, they will just take your phone and click update on the App Store and it will be okay. And you will start to use GoodBarber to run your project. So for iOS, there is no problem. For Android, it will be possible under one condition, only if you have the key store that was used to sign the first version of your app. If you have it, you will have to upload it to a GoodBarber and then to specify what is the existing package name of your app before you create or you recreate the API keys for your project, and so that you are able to build the app using your system. Next question. Hello, Jerome. I have several questions. Apple may refuse to publish. I can see my app after being denied by Apple. Okay. So when you send your app to Apple, you have a validation process. And if your app is rejected, you will receive an email from Apple with some detailed explanations about why it's rejected. Okay. So you can find the details in your iTunes Connect account, and there are the Resolution Center pages. Basically, there are two types of reasons. It can be a technical reason, a bug found in your app, and Apple will provide you the procedure to reproduce the bug. So if you are in this case, you just contact the support, you open a ticket, you give the screenshots provided by Apple and also the explanation, the detailed explanation about why the app was rejected, and we are going to figure out and find a solution for you. You may need to rebuild the app and send it again for review. There are another family of reasons for rejection, and they are mainly about your content, your design, the added value of your app for users, the screenshots you provide. So sometimes you may have rejections because on your screenshots you don't follow the Apple guidelines. For instance, you may use some logos that are not, that you can't. For instance, the Apple logo, you can't use it. You need to use some authorized logos in your apps, or you may use some photos that are prohibited, like photos of competitors or also non-safe content, okay? So if you have this kind of rejections, most of the time, there's no need to rebuild the app. You just have to modify the description of your app in iTunes Connect and ask for a new review. Okay, and I have the last question from François Marc, my friend from Mauritius. François, the answer is yes. This webinar is available on replay, so if you missed it, you will be able to see it on YouTube. So thank you for listening, and I say bye-bye and see you in the next webinar. Bye.